How's it going, PE 580? This is Zachary Perez, and this is my video response for the muscle flexibility video response for this week. The research that I found interesting in the textbook this week was that lack of flexibility affects balance, and I think why that related to me so much, even though I kind of knew that already, is because our sport of basketball requires so many different aspects of balance, whether you're in a stance, whether you're shooting the ball, whether you're guarding the ball, whether you're dribbling. There's definitely a lot of balance that is required within the sport. So that kind of took me on a tangent of different stretches that I found beneficial. The first two that I found were static and ballistic stretches, and they both have a different kind of effect on the body. In terms of muscular flexibility and getting rid of stiffness. But I found that in one study that both stretches should be considered in terms of training and rehabilitation. Ballistic stretching kind of releases muscle tension more than static did. Static increased flexibility, but it didn't really get rid of that muscle tension that the people in the study were dealing with. So it was interesting to see how ballistic and static stretches can both be utilized in terms of training and recovery for athletes. That kind of took me on my next tangent of static stretching, and that led me to yoga. And within yoga, we learned that it is extremely beneficial to helping us in balance and flexibility, and it kind of reiterated that throughout the textbook. But in additional sources, I kind of found that yoga is extremely beneficial for reducing depression and anxiety. So that was extremely interesting, and the study kind of went on and talked about how in a single session of yoga, it decreased anxiety and increased subjective well-being. Even after going to a therapist or doing yoga prior or anything else like that. And basically what that means is, despite clearing your mind or releasing any muscle tension, it tends to come back, and if you kind of just reiterate yoga back into your lifestyle or through your muscular day or flexibility, it's extremely beneficial, whether it's the first time, the second time, or the third time. So it's something that I'm going to try to incorporate throughout my day, and something that I kind of want to stress to my players or whoever else that I'm teaching in the future. In terms of negative responses to stressing in yoga, I found a survey that had a bunch of open-ended responses, and although a lot of them were mostly positive effects, there were some negatives, and the negatives had to do with injuries, soreness, and emotional triggers when you cannot kind of gauge in the practice. So I think with any flexibility exercise, whether it's stretching or yoga or whatever it may be, we can't jump into the higher stage right away. It's kind of like any other sport or exercise. We got to take baby steps into improving our muscular flexibility. We can't just jump to the highest advanced practice and then injure ourselves because we're not ready for that. So muscular flexibility and getting rid of muscle tension is definitely a process, and I think through that source that I found, I understand that I can't just jump into what I think I can do. I got to listen to what my body's saying and incorporate that when I'm working out. So that's my post for this week. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say, and everybody have a good week.